Anita, how's your mental health?
Questionable at all times. You know this.
Yeah, how's the mental health of your children?
Also a little bit tricky. Can I tell you my experience in trying to find therapists for myself and my kids, Mel?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is how it goes. You ask around your friends and your family for a referral for somebody who's nearby. You finally find somebody who sounds like they might work for your family. You give them a call and you find out that A, they're not accepting new patients, or B, they have a huge wait list. So you start over again and you ask people if they know anybody who would be a good therapist and a good fit. Finally, you find one, you go and you meet with them and you figure out that you don't actually like them that much. But it's been so much work to find somebody who you can go to in your area that you're kind of stuck with them. Well, do you have any ideas for how to get around this?
I do, because guess what? I've actually had some therapists that I have found on my own, which involves what you're saying. Sometimes I remember one time I was like 3 hours in the bathtub on my phone looking through websites. I was such a prune at the end. But I have also had the experience with working with BetterHelp. And it was like, I don't want to say too good to be true, but because it is true, but it's like amazing because I was matched with my therapist within 24 hours.
And you didn't have to go through all of that other ridiculous process of trying to find somebody. And here's the cool thing too, is if that person didn't work out for you, you can just switch and say, and it's not like you're committing to another years long search for somebody who you're going to jive with.
It's true. And I lucked out, or maybe just BetterHelp is really good at matching people together because I never had to change my therapist. I loved her. Perfect fit for me. And I know that some of our friends have used BetterHelp and they've had to change therapists, and boom, same day, you can change.
Easy peasy.
You can ghost your therapist. Get a new one.
I love this idea. BetterHelp is one of our sponsors. If you use our promo code trybetterhelp.com/WWDN, you get 10% off your first month. And we totally recommend it.
Yes. Get some therapy. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN. You guys, we're together in the same place, in the same room.
In Tampa, Florida.
We just got done with a pirate ball.
Yarg. Mateys. I wore the grossest wig on the planet.
It is pretty gross. And I think it had a reference to Harry Potter at some point.
Mm-hmm. But it's been through 4 children. But you guys, it looked perfect for the occasion.
It did. People thought you were a dude.
They did not recognize me.
Because you're taller than people know.
It's it's true. We've had such a great time at Camp Widow, you guys, and it's coming to an end, but we wanted to give you a little rundown of how it's gone and what's happened.
Yes. So we left, when was this? Thursday? I don't know. You guys know. You
Time has lost all sense and reason.
Yeah, we made it to Florida. All was well, except for I don't remember what it's like to have shorts in my wardrobe. And so we had to go on a hunt for room snacks and shorts for me.
Yes, except for Mel did not want to wear booty shorts. She apparently has feelings about that, which I do not blame you for, because I also don't want to wear booty shorts, but those were her only options. So instead, she found some boys' swim trunks with neon dinosaurs on them. But guess what?
They said easy on, easy off. You guys, they were not even easy on for my non-boy child body.
Very disappointing. She's very sad she can't wear those awesome swimming suit trunks in Florida.
No, they're pretty great. But at least we got pickles, so I had some pickles in the room.
Mel ate all the pickles. But it made her happy.
Yeah. So we've had a good time here, I would say. And we found our people. So shout out to everybody that hung out with us this week. That was so fun.
Immediately when we were checking in, I was like, oh, I know that person. I know that person. I know that person. And it was fun to be able to see them. You know what my favorite is? My secret favorite is, Mel?
What?
Seeing what people look like in real life and being either surprised or like, no, that's what I thought you were going to be. And it's usually like a height factor. Mm-hmm. Like, whoa, you're taller than I thought you would be. Or like, whoa, you're shorter than I thought you would be. Or, whoa, you look just like I thought you would be.
Yeah.
So we had a little of all of that.
Yeah. And everybody thought that you were not going to be as tall as you were. You were like a giant.
I'm not that tall, you guys.
You guys, but she is. How tall are you?
5'9".
That's tall. Compared to me, I'm 5'5".
Yeah. I mean, I'm like not a giantess, but I am above average.
A giantess.
Yes, a giantess.
Okay, well, we did our presentation and it was so fun to see our friends, and we made some new friends, and we talked about, what was it? Redefining widowhood.
She's like, I immediately have gotten this out of my mind. Yeah, it was a really good session. I thought we had really great participation from our group. We talked about some of the ways we can think differently about the term widow.
Yeah, because some people hate it. Some people are neutral about it. Some people are like, whatever, I'm a widow. So we know that everybody that's listening fits into one or two of those categories, perhaps.
Yeah, but it's interesting because we gave the same presentation in San Diego, but the vibe here has been a lot different, and people kind of latched onto different ideas here than they did in San Diego. So that's kind of fun.
It's like when you go on tour and you play a certain city and it's like different than the city before and you don't even know why.
Yeah. There's like no explanation for it.
And don't worry, at some point we will make our presentation available to those who couldn't come to any Camp Widows. So thank you for asking us about that. We are working on it currently.
Yes. Oh, and shout out to Krista who brought the tacos. We had taco cookies in our session. They were adorable and so fun. And we appreciated you bringing those for us.
Yeah.
We didn't even ask.
I know. Krista is the best.
Thank you.
All of our friends are the best. Like, why is everybody so great?
I don't know.
Do you have to, like, is that what widowhood makes you? Like, the best ever?
Maybe.
Or the worst? I don't know. Whatever. Well, guys, guess what? After we did our presentation, Anita had to go talk about parenting.
It was so funny because I'm like, you guys know I'm a parenting disaster, right? And they were like, we want real experiences. And I was like, well, okay, here we go. But actually, it was a good experience. I think I was able to give some good pieces of information. And a lot of the people were there and are like newly widowed. And so it's just like, there's hope. It's going to be okay. It's the worst. I'm so sorry that you have to do this. The funny thing is that by myself, I have more children than the entire rest of the panel combined. So I was like, at least I got some street cred, you know?
That's true.
Yeah. I can be like, oh, you guys don't even know what you're talking about. Because they seemed very, like, put together and knew
like,
what they were doing.
Their clothes were matching and, like, ironed and things like that.
I was so sweaty because we're in Florida. It's so humid. And I am just, like, sweating buckets. Yeah. I looked like a disaster. And I felt like a disaster, too.
So I had to go to the bathroom during Anita's presentation. So I got stopped by someone. But then I saw Michelle that runs Soaring Spirits. And you guys, if you've listened to all of the episodes so far, you've heard her be our guest before. And so we were talking about how Anita was currently in her presentation. And I was like, yeah, 4 kids. Whoa, but we know a lady that has 7. And she goes, oh, yeah, I have a friend that has 12.
Oh, I need to lay down now.
Yeah.
That's really stressful. We met one of our people in the Widow Wives Club has 8. We met her.
Yeah. I didn't get to meet her, did I?
I think you were talking to somebody else when I was chatting with her.
Hi.
So anyway, that parenting panel went pretty well, I would say. Got to connect with some more people. So that was good.
Yeah, and that's the best part of Camp Widow, I think, is you get to make connections. And even if you go there alone, like most people go there alone because they're alone, right? And you can just be walking down the hall and someone passes you and then they start talking to you like you're friends because you have this shared experience, even though you've never really met each other before.
Yeah. So funny situation is that we're sharing this hotel with a lot of teenagers who are here. There's a thespian convention just down the road. So, I mean, just teenagers everywhere. And we had this pirate ball to end Camp Widow, and there was some kids and they heard there's like dancing and they heard the music and they were like, we're gonna go crash that party. And Mel and I are like, you might want to think about that. That's a room full of widows.
And then Krista widow-splained to them.
It was so funny. They were like, oh, I'm so sorry. Maybe we don't want to go to that party. I'm like, well, you can, but I'm just warning you, like, this is not like a wedding. This is, yeah.
Yeah, they might be like dancing on the dance floor and then like crying at the same time. Which, speaking of crying, at the end of every Camp Widow, they do something different with your person's name. And this time was different than in San Diego. This time we wrote our person's name on a piece of paper, and then we took it up to somebody who read their name and then put it in a treasure chest.
A treasure chest.
A treasure chest. And then we could pick a little charm thing, and they all had different things written on them. And some of them were like, "You are my sunshine," or "love," or things like that, like kind of sentimental things. But I didn't know that because the one that I got says, what does it say?
We're all mad here.
It just says we're all mad here. So I was like, oh, this was an interesting activity. Why are people kind of sniffling? Like, and then I realized, like, oh, I got like
a funny one.
A Cheshire cat thing.
But I feel like that's appropriate for you, don't you?
Yeah, it was appropriate. And some of our friends got some medallion things that happened to be sentimental to them. Like,
mine was.
Yeah, it's like they were led to the one that they needed to pick.
So I had this kind of cool experience during that activity. So all the people lined up and they each read the name one at a time, and I was standing in line kind of in the back, and they read the name Mark Nylek, and I was like, I know him. It's Deb, not a Debbie Downer, who was on our podcast, and I just think it's such a beautiful and interesting experience to know your people through you, even though we never got to know them. But like, I knew his name, and I knew who he belonged to, and I heard that name called out, and it like made me feel a kinship to those people. So a lot of the people in our group, I recognized your person's name, and it was kind of beautiful. It almost made me cry.
No, I know. She was getting misty, and I was alarmed.
No, it was a cool. I thought it was a cool little thing. And then the little charm I got was actually sentimental. It's kind of hard to explain because it's kind of a visual thing, a thing that you have to see to understand.
There was a mistake on her thing, or a hole through it, and it made it look like it said Mr. Coyle.
But it said Miracle, but it looked like Mr. Coyle. So, anyways.
Yeah, Nikki and I were talking, and she was telling me about her husband, and I was like, man, all these guys that we hear about that are the dead people of our friends were so cool. And so we were talking about how unfortunate it is that we cannot meet these people, but we get to know them through their surviving partner. So they have a tribute tile wall like they usually do at Camp Widow, and we walked over together, and it was like, okay, here's Krista's person, here's Not a Debbie Downer's person, here's Nikki's person, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, how poignant is that and weird that these, we're all friends and we're all from different places across the country or the world, and we have a little piece of them that we get to know through death, which is so horrible. So
yeah,
weird.
Do you want to talk about your favorite thing that happens ever in your life? You got to pet the dogs.
I did.
And snuggle the dogs and kiss the dogs and whatever else you do with dogs.
You just like sit by them. Yep, love the dogs. This was a golden retriever therapy dog kind of a thing. So last time there were more varieties of dogs.
There were some really like interesting colored golden retrievers though.
Yeah, like really dark red.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met a golden retriever named Rocky that's skull didn't fully form at birth, and so he's kind of a special needs dog as well, and he was super cute.
Oh, he was so cute. He's blind, and then like he was laying on the floor because he was tired, and his tongue was just like, hanging out, and I was like, oh, Rocky, you're adorable.
Yeah.
He's a sweet, sweet soul. Yeah, and the meditation room had one of Mel's favorite activities.
It had puzzles. Classic Widow activity.
Did you do puzzles in there ever?
No, because I found it out like 20 minutes ago, and now we're
it.
up here recording.
Shoot.
Yeah. So if any of you are thinking about attending a Camp Widow in the future, we highly recommend it. It's a great place to find community, and if you're worried that you won't have friends when you go there, you might not have friends when you go, but you will definitely have friends as soon as you get there. And it's a really nice and hospitable place, and they welcome you with open arms, and you can find a little something of everything. You can find humor, you can find help, you can find crying if you want, you can
Puzzles.
find puzzles and dogs, and we found tacos.
Yes, we went on a taco run. We made our people walk in the humid, hot weather, but it actually was a nice little getaway, I think, from being cloistered in the hotel. So we walked down, we found some tacos. They were delicious. It was fun times had by all. So
Yeah. Thanks to my new friend Jennifer, who's a kindergarten teacher, for cleaning up after me every time I spilled queso.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, I just really feel it was a much different vibe than San Diego. It was a little more laid back. There's less campers here. I love that we're campers. That's always fun, right? We're campers. Yeah, and I think we made some deeper connections this time. We were able to build off of some of the connections we made in San Diego with some people in our group and outside of our group too. I feel like we made some connections with people that we'd never met before.
Yeah, and connection and community is so important in this widowhood BS. So that was something that's going to be an ongoing thing. So for those of you who feel alone and isolated and may want to consider joining an online group, of course, there's our stuff that we have, and we announce that all the time, but they also have a widowed pen pal, the Widowed Village. Soaring Spirits has a pen pal program, and there's some other resources. So however you find your people, there are ways for you to get some support. And it doesn't mean it's going to be like the worst ever all the time. Like, you can laugh and stuff and tell dark jokes. That's where you find your people. It's people that join stuff like this.
Yes.
So this is a special episode since we are on the road and we do not have access to all of our equipment and everything. So this is going to be it for our episode today. Thanks to everybody for supporting us, and we're foregoing our patron shout out this week. So thank you to all our patrons in general that are supporting us. We couldn't do this without you. And we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming with our blah blah and Patreon shout out and interview next Monday.
Thank you, and we hope you have an okay week.
I'm Mel.
I'm Anita. We're two young widows. We're two young campers, and we're trying to figure out.
Matey. I'm a parrot.
Widow.
We do now. This is my favorite thing to discuss with you.
Tell me, what is it?
One of my favorite things. I do enjoy tacos and cheese and dogs. This is about how you cannot pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a phone plan, especially when you're a widow, your person is dead, you might have kids, you might need another option, and you just want your phone to work, you want unlimited texting and service, and you want it to be like $25 a month.
It blows my mind that they have plans that start at $15 a month. That is so cheap. And the cool thing is it uses other 5G networks, and so you don't have to pay extra for that, and you still get great service.
Yep, Anita and I have traveled all over, and I have used my phone. So I highly recommend it, and my mom's even on it. When my dad died, we put his phone down to the cheapest plan, which is $15 a month. And I think my mom's on the $20 a month plan, and it's so worth it. It's so much cheaper than what we were all paying before. So I highly recommend it if you're on a budget or not. Who cares? Ryan Reynolds is in charge of the company, and they send you free stickers with Ryan Reynolds temporary tattoos. It's kind of the best. So if somebody wants to sign up, what can they do, Anita?
Go to trymintmobile.com/WWDN. Seriously, you guys. Such a great idea. Save yourself some money.
And if you're worried about losing data or having any changes with your phone, not going to happen. They walk you through it. Everything's fine. It's the easiest process of all time. Again, that's
trymintmobile.com/WWDN.